Hey everybody, Circle the Dark Mother, Mark here. Today I'm going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to talk about Lilith in the role-playing game Vampire the Masquerade. And it really is pretty interesting, so stick with me. So what is Vampire the Masquerade? Vampire the Masquerade is a tabletop RPG and live action role play that was released in 1991 by White Wolf Publishing. This game is a part of the World of Darkness universe, with many other modules focusing on various supernatural elements. Obviously, Vampire the Masquerade is focused on vampires. Players can create a character based on several houses of vampire with various powers, ability, and attributes. Some of the main ones, there are many more, but the main ones that are used are Bruja, passionate rebels with physical prowess but quick tempers; Ventru, aristocratic leaders skilled in politics and manipulation; Toreador, artists and aesthetics, sensitive to beauty and emotion; Malkavian, insightful but often insane visionaries; Nosferatu, hideously deformed but masters of stealth and information networks; Tremere, sorceress clan specializing in blood magic; Gangrel, feral and close to nature, often shapeshifters. So what about the Masquerade lore and where does that go? So the World of Darkness universe features a gothic punk version of our world with vampires, werewolves, and mages, among others. In Vampire the Masquerade, it features struggles between the groups of vampire hierarchies called the Camarilla, the Sabbat, and the Anarchs. The lore of the vampires teaches that Cain, from Cain and Abel, was the first vampire and father of all the clans. Over the centuries, the various vampire types and clans evolved from Cain's grandchildren. Interestingly, there is a heresy in the game where certain characters believe that Lilith is actually the first vampire and the mother of all. This is seen as extreme heresy by most of the vampires. However, there are Vampire the Masquerade resources that point to this being the true history of the vampires. And this is where it gets really interesting. There are actually two books written as fiction. They're not really like, player manuals or anything, called The Book of Nod and Revelations of a Dark Mother. As I said, these are fictional books. Um, and they get to a point of talking about Lilith being the source of vampires. These books are told like a story instead of focusing on game mechanics. And even though there's fiction, there's a lot of really interesting ideas about Lilith that anyone who loves her will enjoy. The Book of Nod focuses mostly on Cain, his exile, and his ties to vampirism. In this story, it also includes Cain's encounters with Lilith. The one that's really, really interesting is Revelations of a Dark Mother. It's told as an epic poem and is Lilith's counterpoint to Cain's story in the Book of Nod. Revelations of a Dark Mother contain the following sections. First circle, the Book of the Serpent; second circle, the Book of the Owl; third circle, the Book of the Dragon. Both of these books can be read as standalone fiction without really understanding the game or having played it. They're really well done, and they really do read like mythology. And whoever did their research did a really good job. They do include a bunch of, occult and historic ideas. They don't just make it up as they go. Granted, they vary from actual texts, but they really do a great job of putting it all together. And I just want to add that I've had the pleasure of playing the live action version of Vampire the Masquerade. And in one cycle we played, I was a vampire who was a heretic who eventually calls on Lilith for extra power. And so she comes, I get all these weird powers. Um, and this was all behind the scenes where only the storyteller and I knew this. None of the other characters knew because I was hiding it. It was a heresy. So it was really fun. And so I really recommend that if you love Lilith, to take a look at the Book of Nod and especially Revelations of a Dark Mother. And if you really are into games, try Vampire the Masquerade. Really a lot of fun. Thanks. Hopefully that was fun and interesting. Talk to you soon.